Welcome to Birds of Prey Sports Talk, where we weekly cover Ravens and Orioles news. We're your hosts, TJ and Jared. I almost said Jared and TJ. But in this video, we'll be recapping the Thursday night Ravens versus Bengals game. And let me tell you, we watched this game together. We were mad. We were angry, when we watched this game. And I feel like the Ravens were as well. And they definitely played like it. And and the final score shows it. We dominated low key. We won 34-20. The defense was on point. The offense did what they needed to do. And we saw some flashes from OBJ. We saw some flashes from Zay. You know, our receivers really stepped up. And
Mhm.
it's unfortunate because Zay had that screen touchdown. And like, since when do you see the Ravens run a successful screen for a touchdown? Like, you barely see that. And the refs took that away from Zay, so it was sad to see. But OBJ, I almost said ABJ. OBJ went off, and he had his first 100-yard game of the season. I think he had his first 100-yard game in like 2 years.
Mhm.
So that's pretty. Um, and offenses do what we need to do. And I just want to say, I'm really like excited more and more of what the possible connection between Lamar and OBJ is going to look like. You know, we kind of seen it developing this season. He has his yardage and his receiving, catch rate has seemed to go up in like the past 5 games. And I feel like, something really good is brewing, man. And hopefully like when it comes playoff time, it could really blow up because, OBJ, he still got some. He might be getting up there in age, but he still has it. We got Zay, who's been looking good so far. He has strong hands. He's been very shifty. I'm really excited to see what these two can do and get better. How they can get better by the end of the season. And Keaton Mitchell, uh, it, we still want to see more of him. I want to see him get at least 16 touches, in the running game, one game. I want to see that. Lately he's been getting like 4 or 8, and that's no shot to Gus, because he is still a monster. But, I think we all, as Ravens fans, we want to see a little bit more of Keaton Mitchell.
Right.
That would get me into the stats. Lamar, Lamar went 16 of 26, 264 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 0 picks. Um, The leading rusher was Gus Edwards, had 12 rushes for 62 yards, 5.2 yards per carry. He had 2 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson was the second leading rusher with 9 rushes for 54 yards. Keaton Mitchell was the third leading rusher for 8 rushes for 33 yards. He had 4.1 yards per carry. I'm sorry, Lamar had 6 yards per carry too. And for receiving, OBJ led receiving with 4 receptions for 116 yards. Zay Flowers was next with 3 receptions for 43 yards. And Nelson Aguilar had 1 reception for 37 yards, which was on a crazy touchdown pass where he didn't even see the ball and it just so happened to land in his hand. And then Mark Andrews had 2 receptions for 23 yards. I just want to say, prayers to Mark. That this was a season-ending injury he sustained from Logan Wilson, who's just been seeming like he has a hit out on the Ravens players this whole season. So, prayers up to Mark. We both of us here at Birds of Prey, we hope you get better and come back stronger next year.
Mhm.
And Charlie Kolar had 1 reception for 13 yards. Rashad Bateman had 1 reception for 10 yards, which was the touchdown. Gus Edwards had 2 receptions for 8 yards. Keaton Mitchell had 1 reception for 8 yards, and that's about it. So I pass it to you. What was your assessment of the offense in this game? And what was your first takes, until you get to the defense?
The offense was, it's been getting efficient like by each week. I think it's like the fourth or fifth straight week with 30 points. You know, um, I don't know if you can count the 30-point game versus the Browns because we did have the pick six. So our offense only scored like 24 points, but I'll just count it just because, but it just seems like every week, we're getting, OBJ more involved, like you said. He had the 100-yard game, the first one since 2021. So like it's slowly but surely getting, more gelled together. And it kind of reminds me of last season with the defense. The defense was really good early on, but like, it was kind of like, shaky at times, but it just had to like, go through some growing pains. Obviously we blew all those leads last year, and it started to come together, especially when we had Roquan, but this team offensively has a lot of talent. You have Zay, OBJ, Aguilar's good, Andrews, who we lost for the season, unfortunately. And then our running backs, Gus Edwards, JK before he got hurt, and now Keaton Mitchell. So this team has some playmakers on the offense now. So I think that they didn't need a Roquan trade, to really fully gel together. They kind of already have all those kind of pieces together in offense. The offensive line is pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's spectacular, but it's there have been some games this year where they've held up Lamar. And I think this was a good this is a game where they were, defended very well for us missing, I think one was it one or two linemen. I think it was just one. I think it was just Ronnie,
One. Yeah, it
because
was one.
Morgan Moses came back in this game. Zeitler wasn't injured from the Browns game. So, obviously we'll probably get Ronnie Stanley back tonight versus the Chargers. We are filming this right before the Chargers game. It was a very busy week last week, Thanksgiving and everything. So we hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. But to go back to the offense, Gus Edwards is his regular bruiser self. You know, you know, I agree with you. I want to see Keaton Mitchell get 16 carries a game. He
Yeah.
really does have this, like, the running back one potential for this team. And, I think the 1-2 punch of Gus Edwards and Keaton Mitchell is just going to be like just really good for this team, down the stretch, because obviously tackling guys like Gus Edwards in late December and January is just going to be difficult for defenses, who aren't as physical as the Ravens defense. So, you know, if I had to grade this, offensive performance versus the Bengals, I'd probably give it like a cool little 6.5, 7 out of 10. That's if I had to.
Yeah. It's funny because you almost got me there. You said Gus Edgers. I was laughing a little bit, but I would rate it the same. And it kind of reminds me of what Lamar says. At the end of every game is there's always more to improve on. And you know we're in a fortunate position. As Ravens fan and as a team this year. We win games, but we still have much to improve on.
Right.
And it just makes you think. What are we going to look like when we're clicking on all cylinders? So you know as a grade, I would give it. I would say it's an 8 out of a 7.9 out of 10 or 8. You
Mm.
know, I would say that. So yeah, you can go into the defensive stats now. Or
Oh, I was like wondering if you're going to transition. I was like, like, what are we
that was
doing
it.
here? No, but I mean, before we go into the defensive stats, I kind of want to go on an overview of how the defense played. At first I was kind of disappointed with their play. I felt like they were, letting tackles slip through their hands a little bit. And then they let Joe Burrow and company drive down the field before he got hurt.
Yeah.
So it would have been interesting to see what would have happened if Burrow stayed, because he was definitely targeting Queen and Roquan that whole drive they scored. So um, you know, I'd probably give the defense like a 6, 7 out of 10 as well. They played like a 6, 7 out of 10, type of game. The Ravens did offensively and defensively. They didn't really let Jake Browning do nothing, or do anything, I should say. When he came in, which was good. They allowed him to get 10 points, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But the one was that pass interference call, I want to say, on Rock Yassin. Was it Rock Yassin?
Yes, it was the Rockets. Yep.
Right, and then he got benched, I believe, for Ronald Darby, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it was Ronald Darby and Rocky Sin got put in the game. I forgot which one it was, but you know, Kyle Hamilton was playing some great football today. He knocked 2 footballs out of Jamar Chase's hands, I think.
Mhm.
And I forgot the other one. I forgot. I think it was Tyler Boyd who he knocked the hand. But Kyle Hamilton has been playing some great football this year for us. And
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed with the pressure a little bit. I feel like we could have got a little bit more pressure, in the game. We only had okay, I lied. We had 5 sacks, but I think a lot of that had to do probably towards the end of the game. With Jake Browning just kind of trying to find open guys, and he's just coming into sacks. But kudos to the crowd. The crowd was loud. They caused pre-snap penalties. They caused the Bengals to call 2 timeouts in the first quarter. So, kudos to the crowd. I mean, they were hyping this game up the whole week, the darkness and the all black jerseys. And, there was definitely a certain aura and certain, type of, energy in the stadium that we've needed all year, man.
Yeah.
I really expect this crowd, to be like this all year. Obviously primetime games bring out the most out of everything because they offer a little bit more attention, or they offer more chances to get hype. But I think that this crowd needs to be like this all year. Make this a raucous environment.
Yeah.
Like make sure teams come in here and they know they have to communicate with sign language pretty much because they can't hear nothing. So I'm just disappointed with the crowd this year. With the fans and how loud the crowd's been. But this game versus the Bengals was impressive to say the least by the fans. The 12th man showed up very well. But before I go on to the defensive stats, what is your assessment of the defense in this game?
You know, I feel like the defense, I feel like they did. I feel like they played well. I was kind of worried on the first drive. They were really letting Joe Mixon, kind of do whatever he wanted to. Especially in
Right.
the running game and in those passing. And one thing I will say is we need to get better when it comes to coverage. It
Yeah.
seems like in coverage, we let guys catch passes, and then when it's time to tackle them, we don't tackle them. It seems like we just, wail our arms at them, trying to go for a fumble or something, and they slip tackle so easily. And I'm
Mm,
telling you, if it ever comes to the defense having to save our season, that will be our downfall. Is not actually tackling, but trying to reach out and get somebody with one arm. That's how they break tackles. This happened in the Browns game. You know, I'm pretty sure it happened in the Colts game. That's how players get away from us and get first downs. That's
mm,
how Deshaun was able to keep getting first downs because we were just throwing one arm at him and not tackling him, not going after him. You know, and it's an insult to the legacy of the Ravens defenses. We're supposed to tackle and hit guys, not just throw one arm at them. So,
mm,
I'll say the defense needs to do better at that. Um, I feel like we did good coverage wise. I mean, we locked up Jamar Chase. In my opinion, that touchdown doesn't count. And I don't think he really cared about it either. And
right. And do that stupid ass
Brandon,
gritty.
yeah, yeah, Brandon Stevens really did well, covering him the whole season. And so I would say the coverage is nice as always. We did a good job at that. We just need to tackle better, and we need to be better in coverage. And by coverage, I mean I'm mainly speaking to you linebackers. Patrick Queen. You know, we gotta be better in coverage and tackling people. Actually,
Mm,
that's my
right.
outtake for the defense. A solid. I give them a solid 8 out of 10.
You criticize them more than you praise them. So it's like you're too happy
I
with
mean,
the
but
performance.
I feel like the things that need to be worked on stand out more than what is actually consistently good. So I still think they did good for what it was. 8 out of 10.
Right. Right. So I'm glad they didn't let Jake Browning light them up
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and and come back win this game. That would have truly been the downfall of the Ravens fan base. We could be 7-4 right now. No, but anyways, to move on to the defensive stats, Patrick Queen has 11 tackles. Nine of them are solo. Roquan has 10 tackles. Four of them are solo. Marcus Williams has 7 tackles. Five of them are solo. He has 2 pass deflections. I meant to say the Marcus Williams play early in the game when the Bengals got their first points of the game. Marcus Williams, if he had both of his arms, which he does, but if the one wasn't immobile or it one wasn't like he can't move his one arm. If he had his other arm to be able to be used, that would have been pick six. That would have been a
yeah.
pick six. So, and I really feel bad for Marcus Williams. He is really good, but like he needs both of his arms. But anyways, Matavike has 3 total tackles. 3 of them are solo. He has a sack, 1 tackle for loss, and a QB hit. Owe has 3 tackles. 3 of them are solo. 1 sack, one tackle for loss, and 1 QB hit. Brent Urban has 3 total tackles. 3 of them are solo. Tavius Robinson has 3 tackles. 2 of them are solo. He has his first career sack, so congratulations to him. And 1 tackle for loss, 1 QB hit. Geno Stone has 3 tackles. 1 of them are solo. Kyle Hamilton has 3 tackles. 1 of them are solo as well, but he has 2 pass deflections. Kyle Benoit has 2 tackles. 2 of them are solo. 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 QB hit. And Jadeveon Clowney has 2 total tackles. 1 of them was solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and two QB hits. So we got after the quarterback decently in this game. Obviously we didn't really. I don't think we caused a turnover in this game. But I think the defense just did what it needed to do. Obviously I agree with you. The Ravens need to do a little bit better. With this tackling situation, it feels like these last 2 weeks, with versus the Browns and the Bengals, it's kind of been a little iffy.
Yeah.
But hopefully they figure it out. They just, they just make sure that they can wrap up guys, now, hopefully in the Chargers game. We don't need them. Obviously, you got Eckler and you got
Oh yeah.
Keenan Allen. Don't let them get extra yards, So same thing with Herbert. He's not that fast, but if he can roll out of the pocket, we don't want him to do that. Bring him down. Don't give him time to throw. So, that's the defensive analysis I had to really put in this video.
All right. So now moving on to the pregame of the Chargers game next week. Some of my early keys to the game would be we have to control Austin Eckler. He's a very good running back. He's very elusive. He likes to get a lot of yak,
Right.
and get a lot of yards after the catch. And I mean, even in the running game, that was more so the passing game with the yak. Even in the running game, he's pretty good. So, you know, I feel like it's very important that, we don't let him dictate the game and don't let the running game get going because, I mean, we've seen early on in the season, we had guys like Zach Moss tearing us up, and we can't have that with Austin Eckler because he's like 10 times better than Zach Moss. And another thing is we can't let Herbert extend the plays. That's one reason why we lost the Browns game. We kept allowing
Right.
Deshaun Watson to get out the pocket and extend the plays. Herbert can do the same, and he can throw the ball for like 30 yards more. So we can't let him extend the plays and get out the pocket and destroy us like that.
Right.
And then I say, we have to be physical with the receivers. Keenan Allen, he's still good. He's one of the best route runners in the league, but he's also pretty old. And I feel like we need to use that to our advantage, to really like, prevent him from really going off this game. So, those are my three keys offense, two keys offensive wise and one key, one key defensive wise. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'll pass it on to you.
Right. So, um, everything you said was pretty much on point. I mean, this extending play stuff just has got to stop. It really feels like these last 2 weeks, the quarterbacks have had a chance to really extend plays. And, Herbert, say what you want about him. He's mid, he's overrated, whatever. He's still a really good quarterback. There's a
Hmm.
reason the Chargers gave him all that money. So just do not let him extend plays. That's all I gotta say. Because if we lose this game because of that, then we're gonna come here in the breakdown video and be very upset.
Right.
So yeah, that's definitely the key to the game is attack. Don't allow plays to be extended. I think the defensive line really has to step up in this game. Austin Eckler, personally, I think he's not that good of a running back. I'm not saying he's bad. It's just like he's very slow. So just don't let him get past the defensive front. The defensive front was very disappointing in the Bengals game. So just don't let him get past the line of scrimmage. Stuff the line. That's all I gotta say. So, like Travis Jones, Metabike, Urban, Pierce. You gotta do better in this game.
Yeah.
All of you. So I think our run defense is still questionable. So we got to make sure that we shut that down quick. And then I think that's really all my keys to the game. We'll get into our score predictions at the end. But certain stats I want to talk about here. Justin Herbert has a 66.2 completion percentage, 2,609 yards. Man, that's crazy. He almost has 3,000 yards already. 19 touchdowns, 5 picks. He has a 99.5 quarterback rating. Rushing wise, Austin Eckler has 102 carries for 396 yards, 3.9 yards per carry. So yeah, like I said, he's not anything special. What's it called? He has 4 rushing touchdowns. He averages 56.6 yards per game. Receiving, their leading receiver is Keenan Allen. He has 83 receptions for 1,011 yards. He has 7 touchdowns and averages 101.1 points per game. I'm sorry, not points per game. That's crazy. Yards per game. Their second receiver, I think this is Joshua Palmer, if I'm not mistaken. 23 receptions for 377 yards, a touchdown. He averages 47.1 yards per game. Third leading receiver is Austin Eckler, 24 receptions for 254 yards. He almost has as many rushing yards as he does receiving yards. But for a touchdown, he averages 36.3 yards per game. Mike Williams is out for the season, so he's obviously not going to be a part of the game. But their rookie wide receiver, Quentin Johnston, has 20 receptions, 183 yards, 1 touchdown. And he averages only 18.3 yards per game.
Mhm.
He had that big drop versus the Packers. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. Yep.
He had that big drop. And obviously, I don't think they're gonna have Joey Bosa in this game, but obviously they got Khalil Mack on defense. He has 11 sacks this season already, so he's doing pretty good. Their middle linebacker that I wanted to come out of the 2020 draft, but I'm kind of glad we kind of got Queen. But Kenneth Murray has 55 total tackles, 20 of them are assists. He has 75 total tackles, 2 sacks, 7 tackles for losses, 3 pass deflections, and interception, no forced fumbles, and then Derwin James, their star safety. I believe he's playing in this game, unless something happened. I know he's always injured, so I don't know if he's playing in this game. Do you know?
I think he is playing, yes.
All right, good. So he has 46 total tackles, 20 of them, 21 assisted tackles, 67 total tackles. He has 3 tackles for losses, 3 pass deflections, a pick, and 2 fumble recoveries, but no forced fumble. So defensively, they're not very threatening, it seems like. I have some stats here. Points per game, their offense scores 25.9 points per game, which is eighth in the NFL. They average 354 yards per game, which is 11th in the NFL. Their third down, they have 43.17% on third down, which is ninth in the league. And they also have a 66.67 fourth down conversion on fourth down, which is second in the league. So, obviously not an easy team to stop on third down. They average at least 3 touchdowns per game, which is eighth in the league. Points per game, they allow 23.8 points per game, which is 24th in the NFL. Their opponent yards per game is 393.6 yards per game they average, which is 31st in the league. Their opponent's third down percentage is 35.66%. I believe that it says number 7, but I don't know if that means that they're seventh best or seventh worst. So I'm gonna have to look that up. But
Seventh best. Seventh best.
seventh best. Okay,
Yeah.
seventh best. Um, but they also allow 62.5 um fourth down percentage, which is 24th in the league. So maybe we should start thinking about going for it in this game. If we get to fourth and shorts, like 4th and 1, 4th and 2, maybe even 4th and 3. And they allow 2.8 touchdowns per game, which is 26th in the league. So obviously, a very threatening offense, but not very much a threatening defense. They have playmakers on the defensive front. Obviously Joey Bosa is probably not going to be playing in this game. I believe he's on their IR, so he will be missing 4 weeks. But you know, are you scared of their defensive front with Khalil Mack? He has 11 sacks this year. Obviously, he's been a threat this year. Derwin James. I believe they traded J.C. Jackson back to the Patriots, didn't they?
Yep. Yep.
So they don't even have him anymore. Does their defense really scare you? If you had to be honest.
So, I mean, after seeing what just Trey Hendrickson and DJ Reader were able to do to our offensive line last week, sometimes
Mhm.
they definitely do. Khalil Mack, even though he's not as talked about as he was with the Bears and the Raiders, he's still a force to be reckoned with. And we definitely have to do, our best to keep him from getting to Lamar. It definitely
Right.
does help that Bosa probably isn't going to be playing, but their defense still to scare me. And another thing is Derwin James. I mean, he's like one of those old school players. He hits hard. He's a
Right.
headhunter out there. I mean, he's kind of like the, Cam Chancellor. Are our receivers ready for that? So,
All them are on the injury
their
report.
defense, yeah, their defense is pretty, formidable. And they do kind of scare me.
Right.
They're a very a physical defense. And, it's just going to be about and on top of that, they're also a desperate team.
Right.
So it's just going to be about really who wants this game more. Are the
Right.
Ravens stay level headed, and not play down to their opponents? Or are they still going to, play like how they did against, the Lions or the Seahawks, play above and beyond.
Right.
We can't underestimate these guys
Yeah.
because Brandon Staley's job is on the line. If he loses a game, he's probably going to get fired. So the Chargers are going to be playing with a lot of heart, with a lot of grit, and the defense probably will do that too.
Hopefully
And
they
that's
lose because they don't want Staley as their coach.
yeah, hopefully. Yep. And also, I just wanted to say, I thought it was interesting. I'm looking at the offensive stats right now on the Score app. We have a pretty good offense. So I just thought that was
The
interesting.
Ravens.
Yeah, like stats, like numbers wise, we have a pretty
Yep.
good offense.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what are your score predictions for this game?
Score predictions. I believe it's going to be 27-13. I feel like we're going to be able to run the ball. I feel like we'll have some difficulties running the ball at first, because of Mac. But I feel like as the game goes on, we'll be able to run the ball. I feel like Keaton Mitchell is going to have at least 12 carries, I would say. I would
Hmm.
want him to have 16, 18, but I think 12 he's going to have this game. Probably going to be giving to Gus a lot more.
Hmm.
And I think Lamar's gonna have one passing touchdown. I think it's gonna be one of those games where we're gonna be running the ball down the field, and then when we get into the end zone, we'll try to punch it in, with
Right.
Lamar. So I say 27-13.
For me, I'm gonna stick on the 30-point trend. I'm gonna go 31. What was the score last week? It was 34-20. I don't want to say something too similar to last week. I mean, it could be similar. I mean, yeah. I'm gonna say 31-14. No,
Ooh, ooh,
31. I'll give him an extra field goal. 31-17.
okay.
31-17. Final score. Actually, no, I'm going 37-17.
Hey,
37-17.
2 years ago we beat them 34-6. So hopefully we can do
Right.
that again.
And we were both at that game. We weren't there together, but we were there at the game together. Remember?
Yeah, yeah,
Not at the
yeah,
game together. We were at that game. And you get the point.
yeah,
So I'm gonna say 37-17 final score. It
yeah,
might get a garbage time touchdown. Um,
yeah.
with Marlowe hopefully being back, hopefully he can guard Keenan Allen and then Brian Stevens maybe on Johnston.
Yeah.
Or maybe flip flop, whatever you want to do. I don't. Mike McDonald's crazy, so he he's a crazy ass defensive coordinator, so he might put Travis Jones on him. Right? That's something Wake Martindale would do.
Hey, hey, he would make it work too. He would make
Yeah,
it work.
somehow you'd give him like in Space Jam, he would give him like the freaking like cornerbacks powers or whatever, and just all of a sudden he's like the best cornerback in the league. But anyways, that's really all I gotta say. I just want to say like I apologize. This video's coming out later than usual, but obviously, like I said earlier, Thanksgiving. Hopefully everyone had a good time with their families. Has had a lot of plates like TJ.
You just had to do that, huh? Okay.
So I should be want to talk, but yeah, like I said, hopefully a good time over the weekend. Like a whole bunch of I think that what do you get like 2 days off on Thanksgiving for school?
But
You
yeah,
get the Thursday, and remember the one week we got that 1 week we got the whole week off
that was a great week.
in high
2019.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Rams game. That was that
Yeah.
was that was a great week. That was the only time you ever had Thanksgiving week off. That was awesome. Um,
Yeah.
if you're interested in that, just TJ and Jared story time. We'll create a YouTube channel for that. But no, that's all I gotta say for this video.
Yeah, and that's all I have to say. We covered great game versus the Bengals. Look forward to getting the dub versus the Chargers and just improving to 9-3. Nine
Yep.
and three. And in a couple weeks we go to the Rams game. So
Yep.
a lot of California teams, we've been talking about. And the 49ers will play eventually too. So yeah, that is our recap for the Ravens and the Bengals game. And also, a pregame for the Ravens and Chargers that's played tonight. Uh, Make sure you guys check out our social medias, our Instagram, our Twitter, our TikTok. We definitely are gonna, be more active on there and try to get out content for you guys and feed you guys on there. And we're doing live game updates on our Twitter. It's very fun, watching the game with you guys.
With
And
you guys.
yeah. Also, make sure you check out our second channel, Casual Cinema. We just dropped a oh my God, we just dropped a Captain Marvel. I'm sorry, Miss Marvel's
The
movie review on
Marvels.
there. Yeah, the Marvel. That goes to show you how much I remember the movie. We just dropped the Marvels movie review on there, so make sure you guys check that out. And yeah, just support us. We're grinding. We're on the road to 100 subs, and just be along for the ride. But we're Birds of Prey. I'm TJ Jarrett, and we're out.
We're out.